Alright folks, welcome back. I receive a lot of seed from a lot of people trying to make things hard for myself. This is Balatro every day. And today, Forward Sound was having trouble on the Nebula deck. After you've had a chance to try this one yourself, let's go Gold Stake Nebula deck. The first boss is Diamonds. The skip tags are not interesting. Let's go first round. I see we have 4 spades. If we discard like this, we could go for the spade flush. Notably, if we are trying to get the one-shot flush, we need a 9 or better. So of the 9 possible spades, 4 of them could give us the one-shot. In this particular position, specifically when you have a high triple, I personally like going for the full house. So if you have 3 9s or 3 face cards, try to go for the full house. It's easy enough to get a pair. So 3 10s here. If we discard, we can try to get a pair. Pair of aces does give us the full house. Because the 10s are relatively high cards, any pair will work except for a pair of 2s. So 10s with a pair of 3s, that would be a one-shot full house. I'm assuming that's not what Forward Sound did. I'm assuming that's not what most people would do. So let's run it back and see what happens if we get the flush instead. Most of the time it doesn't matter, but when you're playing on the Nebula deck and not playing on the yellow deck, every dollar matters in the early game. So let's go for the full house. Sorry, let's go for the flush instead. Missing on the flush. Let's go one more time to get a flush. Took us all 2 discards plus an additional hand to set up the flush. If we had gotten the 5 here, the 5 is too low. This flush would not win, and we would need to play a 3rd hand, which is pretty bad. But we got really lucky and we got the jack, so we can play this flush, which does one shot. Which hand you play in the first round matters a little bit on the Nebula deck because you have the telescope. So maybe sometimes go for the high straight, queen high straight, king high straight, ace high straight in the first round. That way, if there is a celestial pack in the first shop, you can get a Saturn card right away. Here we won with a flush. That's our most played hand. If we had missed on the flush and maybe ended up playing some other combination of hands, that could mess up our telescope, maybe. Okay, we have a buffoon pack. We have a bunch of $3 cards. We've got Mercury, we've got Magician here. So if we had gotten the one shot in the first round with the full house, we would have $4 plus $3. We would be able to do both. Not necessarily that we should do both, but we would be able to do both. So the question is, if we had the $7, if we had the one shot, do you take buffoon pack plus, or do you just take the buffoon pack and neither of these? If you take one of these, or maybe both of these, I guess it depends on what's in the buffoon pack. So you open the buffoon pack first, looking for information. In this position where we have only $6, we could ask the question, okay, maybe I buy one of these and I don't look in the buffoon pack, I think is incorrect. You want some kind of joker to give you some scoring help. Obviously, the planet cards help, but the jokers are going to do more. So let's say I had the $7. Do I want a magician at all? Probably not. If this were a devil, you create gold cards. And gold card, if you have it in hand, you always get the $3. You take the devil, the one round that you take the devil, it pays for itself, and then potentially you get more money down the line. The problem with that is when you turn a card into gold, there's no guarantee that you will ever draw that card again. Maybe you won't see it for the next 4 or 5 rounds or something like that. So there is some inherent risk in making something into gold, other than, I guess, the devil card pays for itself right away. With the magician, there's this additional risk. So can we draw the lucky cards at all? And when we do draw the lucky cards, what kind of hands can we play with those lucky cards? Maybe can I get a flush with those lucky cards? Can I get a pair with those lucky cards? Sometimes you draw the lucky cards, but you can't actually play them. And when you do finally play them, the chance of getting the money is pretty low. I think if I have enough money in the bank, if I have a lot of money in the bank, I think taking lucky cards as value generators is a great idea. But maybe early on, what I'm thinking about is, okay, if I miss, can I afford to miss? Can I afford to lose? And the answer is no, I can't. In the early game, every dollar matters. I had to play it somewhat safe in the early game. So take the buffoon pack. If you had the $7, would you also take a Mercury card? Taking the Mercury card, then It's not enough on its own to do a lot, but it does allow you to get like 120 points-ish with a pair, and so you can beat the boss with a sequence of pairs, rather than having to rely on 5-card hands. And so that could be a way to give you some extra safety against the boss, and then later on down the line, if you get something like Mystic Summit or Abstract Joker, then the pairs build is fully online with just one Mercury card. That's all it takes. So maybe you take it now, but we can't afford to do that, so we go Buffoon Pack instead. All right. Let's see here. I could take Mystic Summit as a rental. I think most people would say no. Here's something to consider. Against the boss here, okay, let's say you want to play a flush, you want to play a 5-card hand. You use 2 discards to play your flush. Then you still need a second 5-card hand to beat the boss, so you have to use 2 hands as discards, 2 throwaway hands, setting up another 5-card hand. And so that costs you 4 hands to beat the boss. That's $4 worth of hands, right? If I take the Mystic Summit, I know I can one-shot the boss. With maybe 2 pair with 15 molt, I can one-shot the boss. Maybe, some kind of 5-card hand will one-shot the boss, which means I save $3 worth of hands. So it pays for the rental fee, being able to save hands. And something similar kind of applies to the big blind here. Big blind, sometimes you don't have to use all of your hands, but sometimes you do. And maybe the Mystic Summit helps with that. I think the Mystic Summit here is justifiable as a rental. I'm not going to take it, but I don't think it's wrong to take the Mystic Summit here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take Northern Lion instead. I think if I take this, then the question is, am I going to be able to find enough points to beat this boss? Obviously, there's no points here in this shop, but is the next shop going to give me what I need to beat the boss? The answer is probably, but not guaranteed. And so maybe you take the Mystic Summit just to be safe. I'm going to take the value generator. If we miss, if the next shop is garbage, we can always sell and then re-roll, right? So let's go next, I guess. All right, with Northern Lion, how do we win here? I have 3 10s. If we play the 3 10s, it gives us 180. Then we only need 270 to win. So one thing you could do is you could discard to try to get the full house, but even if we do get the full house, we still need a second hint in order to win. But if I play the 3 of a kind, that gets me close enough to the goal where I can follow it up with a 5-card hand. So let's start with the 3 10s. And then this flush wins. Great. Which is relevant for the Nebula deck because we do have the Telescope. So now our most played hand is flushes. Okay, options. There is a Celestial pack. So free roll, Eternal free roll, I would take it. Eternal rental, I think you can't. Rental too expensive. Okay. So options. We could re-roll as a way of getting more points. We could open a Celestial pack. We could do nothing here. I think Arcana pack is wrong. There's no way to profit from it. If we open the Arcana pack, Hermit doesn't help us. Temperance only gives us $5. So no Arcana pack. Do I want the Celestial pack? So going into the boss here, I want something. Or else I'm just going to lose. There's a chance that you can beat the boss without any jokers, but that chance is not very high necessarily. So I feel fine taking the Celestial pack here. Earth, Neptune, will just go Jupiter. Maybe even would prefer seeing a Mercury card there, or prefer seeing Uranus there. But Jupiter's fine. Do I want this credit card? I have no reason not to take it, right? If we got $4 and a $3, that's fine. Now that we have the credit card, we could consider taking the voucher. I'm going to say not worth it. I think there's a lot of builds where you don't need the hand size, and what I'd rather have is just build money in the bank for interest and leverage that money to get jokers rather than hand size. No Arcana pack, let's go next. Alright, the boss is going to debuff my diamonds. We can just try to get spades. There's a spade flush, which I think doesn't win. Level 2 spade flush doesn't win. Level 2 flush in general is about 500, 550 points. Level 2 straight does one shot. Level 2 flush does not. And so that's why in the first round here with the telescope, something I like to do is play a straight in the first round. So if the first two shops have even just one celestial pack, that's one straight level, that's enough to one-shot the boss, even without any jokers. But we didn't get a straight, so we play the flush instead. That's fine. Here I could play a pair of queens. That already wins. I could try to get another heart here. Playing the pair is fine. The only reason to go for the hearts potentially is consideration for the telescope, or maybe get supernova in the future. Would you look at that? So the thing about playing flushes with the supernova, you're really only playing one flush per round for the first, I don't know, 9 rounds or something like that. And then after that, you're only playing 2 flushes per round. So supernova does not grow very quickly. Supernova is best if you're playing a lot of hands per round. If you're playing high card pair, sometimes 2 pair. I still think it's good enough to take here. We got nothing else going on, is what I'm saying. So supernova, for sure we take. I would prefer to play pairs. I don't have the materials to play pairs. We did not have the money for the Mercury card, so this is an example of a situation where in that first shop, if we had gotten the one shot, if we had gotten egg plus the extra $3, we could buy the Mercury card. Now Mercury plus supernova, now our pairs build is online, and then that's it. But we didn't get the one shot, so probably I want Jupiter to level up my flushes. Probably, since we have the telescope, this guarantees Jupiter. Do I want to pay $8 for another Jupiter card? Probably. So let's do that. Could be a Jupiter here. Pick up Uranus first. Now we got level 4 flushes. Okay, standard pack has a chance of giving us a value generator. I don't think we can afford missing, so let's not take that chance. Let's just go next. Some consideration for taking the top-up tag here. I guess we have a lot to gain. I have some value. Well, I have one value generating joker. I have supernova. I am open to a lot of different possibilities. I think top tag here is great. We can get jokers that are not perishables. We can get jokers that are not rentals. And then maybe if I get a chips joker, I can pivot with the supernova and start playing pairs instead of flushes. The question is, if we skip and the top of tag misses, let's say the top of tag doesn't give us points, do we survive the next round? I think the answer is yes. With the level 4 flushes, do that. This is another consideration. If you know this is what you're going to do, then now in the shop, if there's the celestial pack and you're considering whether or not you open it, if I know I'm going to skip, then that tells me that I should probably open the celestial packs. I should probably take the Jupiter cards. These do not give points. All right. Let's try to get a spade flush. One more time. Missing on the spade flush. I can play a full house. Doesn't win, but it does have the benefit of, it does have the benefit of 2 face cards for business card. I think we should probably just go for the flush. We know the flush works. We know the flush wins. Playing the pair there is not bad in case we want to try to do pairs on the supernova later. This is a little bit stinky. Didn't get the spades. All right, this spade flush should be fine. Great. $4 there, I'll take it. This boss is going to debuff my spades. Previously we had diamonds. Okay, faceless joker I think is fine if you're playing pairs or high card. We aren't playing pairs or high card, so maybe we don't take faceless joker. Also, it's eternal, so I already have 3 value generators. Maybe I don't take a 4th one. We can re-roll here for free. Rocket as a rental, maybe not. Maybe not. Faceless Joker again. So now, not as eternal do we take Faceless Joker. I think just sticking with business card is safer if the plan is to play flushes. Do we want a Celestial Pack? Probably. Take it while we can. Alright, Standard Pack has a chance of Gold Seal, Purple Seal, Blue Seal. Maybe we don't take it, because once again here, every time you open a booster pack, there's a chance it works out, there's a chance it doesn't work out. The question is, can I afford to lose? Can I afford to miss and be in debt forever? The answer is probably I can't afford that. Same with Onu here. So save our money, go next. Do we have, is Supernova level 5 flushes, is that enough to beat this boss? Yes, go next. So we don't need a reroll there. We can get a Diamonds flush. This flush wins. We can try to get the Jack of Diamonds with one more discard. That's okay. At some point, there's going to be some consideration for selling Northern Line and trying to, you know, if you get plus 14 bucks, you also get plus an extra 3 bucks of interest. Okay. Alright, credit card is perishable, about to go away. We've got Jupiter, we've got Flash card is very good. Scaling plus molt. I think Jupiter, yes. With the Arcana packs, basically you're taking the chance, you're trying to get Temperance. So probably we don't take that chance, we just get rid of the credit card here. Flash card. Do we want the Chad? The benefit of the Chad is it gives us extra chips, like 20% more chips. We do have business cards, so maybe it makes sense to get rid of the free reroll and take the Chad. Though, admitting now that the free reroll does have a combo with the Flash card, I think as long as we just, you know, generate 5 bucks per round, then that's fine. Instead, I think I'd rather have business card than the free reroll, though maybe that was a mistake. Alright, with the extra chips now and the extra molt, we should be able to win with a flush. I could play a pair instead. Now that we have the Chad and the business card, this is positive expected value. Maybe I don't want to play too many of those because I don't want to mess up the telescope. I probably discard that king. The flush wins. I will play the pair for the money. Alright. Now we've got momentum. Now we should be fine. Yeah, Forward Sound was saying that they couldn't get out of the first ante. They couldn't get out of the first 3 rounds. But now we got probably a lot of money that we could do whatever we want. Shoot the Moon, probably not if you're playing flushes. Are we still playing flushes? I guess. So let's go Celestial Pack for sure we do. Arcana Pack we can also afford. Business card is going to take us above 25 in the next round, no problem. Maxed out interest, no problem. So we go Arcana first in case there's a Hermit. No Hermit, but we could go Jupiter. So do we want Jupiter for more points? Do we want a Magician for some lucky cards? I think if there were face cards, I would make the lucky cards. If there were spades, I would make the lucky cards. But since neither of those things are here, let's just go get a Jupiter card. It's much cleaner, it's much safer. I would say maybe you don't need the Celestial Pack here, and if I didn't have all these money generators, I wouldn't take the Celestial Pack. One thing that's kind of tricky about the telescope is every Celestial Pack is guaranteed value, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you can afford every Celestial Pack. You do need to save some money in the bank and start building up your interest so that you can afford more booster packs later. Not just the Celestial Packs, but the Archon Packs and the Celestial Packs. You want to have more money later. But because we have the business card, it's probably fine. We can afford this. And then go next. Alright, what flavor flush do we want? Probably doesn't matter. So I'm just looking for my face cards. Maybe keep the 4 of clubs to go with the ace. Maybe. All right. A little bit lower on diamonds. Let's try to go for the clubs. I have this flush. If I play the queen, technically it's positive expected value. Technically. Because of the retriggers from the Chad. Ah, bummer. We could do the jack. Okay. We could do one more queen. I'm gonna mess up the telescope. There we go. And then the flush one shots because we have so many levels. Okay, 6,000 points there for the flush. Maybe like 5,500. So the flush does not one-shot the boss unless we get more material. You could take 6s. This doubles the money that we get from business card, but we're not necessarily going to do business card forever. I think it's better to just keep Northern Lion and try to get temperances. Some consideration for going back in time. I think we open the buffoon packs first. Okay, could take Rocket as a money generator. Could take Abstract Joker. I think Abstract Joker I don't need. Considering getting rid of the business card here, you could take Certificate and try to get purple seals, try to get blue seals from the certificate. Even just maybe red seal would be fine. Gold seals are good with the Chad. I think the certificate is too powerful for us to pass it. I think we drop the business card here. Sure. And then the second buffoon pack. Could take Wii as scaling chips. Could take the vampire as scaling X-Molt. I think between the two of these, the X-Molt is replaceable, and maybe with the Chad you don't want to take the vampire because with the Chad you want to try to do re-triggering lucky cards, re-triggering even just sometimes re-triggering bonus cards, glass cards obviously. So I think maybe we don't need the certificate that bad. We just take Wii Joker with the Chad, and then, well, we'll see. Do we want to go back in time? I would say if I'm playing pairs, usually I don't go back in time because I can't afford losing a hand. But if we do go back in time, we do get potentially extra scaling on Supernova and Flashcard and Wii Joker and Northern Lion. So I think it's justifiable. Go back in time here. Sure. If I'm playing flushes with the Chad, usually the flush is going to be a one-shot hand. So I don't have to worry about losing hands, maybe. Alright, my clubs are debuffed, so I'm not going to play this flush, which would win, clearly. Let's try to get the hearts for the 2. I can play this flush. And that's already 24 chips. So out of the 140 chips that we have on the flush, already 24 from a single 2. Which means if I want, with Flashcard and Wii Joker long term, I can get off of playing flushes. Could be... Boss is -1 hand size. I probably don't take the dice here. So let's just save our money for interest. Let's go next. Okay, maybe try to get diamonds. One more time, diamonds. There's a flush with another 2. And then that's now 48 chips. Alright. Maybe sticking with Northern Lion was wrong. Maybe we should have just had the free reroll and then we could be growing our flash card. This is risky. I'll take an 8-ball here. I guess if I'm already doing Wii Joker, I don't do an 8-ball here. I definitely take Arcana looking for Hermit or Temperance. If we miss, we can make a rock. We could make the 2 into a wild card. So we've had 3 suit bosses. Maybe turn the 2 into a wild card is somewhat sensible. Do I want the Celestial pack? I think probably. And get a black hole? Maybe. Do I want the certificate as an eternal? Probably not. Go next. Alright. I have a flush. I guess let's try to get one more heart. Okay. So here's what I want to do. I want to do the 2s separately. Let's play this 2 first. And then let's play this 2. And then that way if we separate the 2s, we get more growth on my Wii. Great. Boss says -1 hand size. Okay. Could take a sun. That's the one suit boss that we haven't seen, right? Arts? Maybe the sun helps in an emergency situation against the boss here if we don't draw a flush. -1 hand size if we don't draw a flush, that's pretty devastating. Maybe you take the sun just to be safe. And Celestial Pack here is... This might be a Celestial Pack that we don't take, and the reason we don't take it is for interest. Save money for a voucher in the next shop. Let's go next. Alright, I've got some 2s. I could play a pair of 2s. I could dig for the clubs. I should dig for the clubs. I really want to play the pair of 2s. -1 hand size, we should just dig. Alright. Missing on the clubs. That's not good. Maybe should have gone for hearts. Okay. My high card is actually not that bad because we have so many chips on our Wii. Cool. Okay. Celestial Pack guarantees Jupiter. Golden Joker, I don't have room for. Could take a Buffoon Pack. Delayed gratification. 3 perishables? I mean, we take delayed gratification. Probably won't end up using it. There's Sly we don't need because we already have Wii. So, go next. Alright, I have play the 2. Maybe we should have played the pair of 2s. And then... Yeah, looks like I should have played the pair of 2s. Alright, so here's a flush with a 2. Boss says face down cards. Alright. Okay. There's a Justice card. Arrowhead we don't need. So... let's go Arcana first. We get Hermie, we get Magician, probably Hermie for the short-term gains. Could make some space and make it easier for us to get flushes. I think I just take Hermie here. And Celestial Pack. So Jupiter, yes. Do we want to make a glass card? Is pretty good with the Chad. Maybe. Since we are on the Nebula deck, since we do have Northern Lion, do we want something like Tarot Merchant? Also probably. And then we can reroll. Could take Consolation. If I take Consolation, I have to give up Northern Lion. My Supernova is currently only plus 12. I think it's justifiable to drop Supernova. though maybe safer to drop Northern Lion. Alright, let's ball. Alright, go next. So now what are we trying to do? Could play this too. I need to make sure I hit the flush, which admittedly is not guaranteed, but we can play this too. This is fine. Alright. Clubs. We have the clubs flush. If I make a glass card, which card do I want to make glass? Maybe I don't have to make a glass card yet. This flush wins, even without Supernova, because... Okay, not quite. Good to know. So that means we will use Justice against the boss. Alright. Obviously, taking Constellation there was very risky, and maybe we were supposed to sell Northern Lion. Alright, I have 2 Celestial packs, Telescope on flushes. Now we're good, right? Okay. What flavor flush you want? Maybe hearts? If I sort by suit, I can try to get a hearts flush. I could try playing the 2. Yeah, this is fine. And then get the hearts. Hearts flush. I could make a glass too, but it has a risk of breaking, and so maybe we shouldn't do that. I can make a glass queen instead. And then this is fine. We don't need the chat on the glass card. Alright. Okay, another Celestial pack. I probably want both of these. Takes me down to 22 bucks, that's fine. This boss says base, chips and mold halved. This is a situation where Supernova would be really nice. Alright, I have Hermie. Take money. We can reroll for flash card. We can grow Constellation. Is that better than making some lucky cards or potentially making hearts? Probably. So, Burglar. Burglar is interesting. Since well, Burglar makes our Telescope worse, but Burglar gives us twice as many hands. We have Wii Joker plus Flash Card. Burglar could work if I'm playing pairs, which I could. I think maybe no Burglar. I want to be able to draw my 2s. Could be Hermie off of a Fool. Could save the Fool for something else. I think Hermie's fine. Reroll one more time. I think I stop rerolling after that. $8 for reroll is kind of expensive. We can save our reroll money for the next shop. Go next. And let's try to get hearts. One more time, hearts. Okay. So the high card is 5,000. The flush should easily be fine. Droll Joker we don't need. Celestial pack here for another Jupiter card. I have money for a standard pack. Maybe I pick up Honu first. Maybe shouldn't have done that. That's going to cost me $1 of interest. Could be a purple 9. As a value generator. Also, it's a bonus card. Let's try it. Let's go next. So we can discard purple. We get strength. Strength is interesting. Here we could discard one more time to try to get a 2. I'm gonna play this flush because actually I don't know if it wins. Save my strength to turn aces into twos. Okay, so that flush wins, but against the boss, it's going to be a quarter as powerful, which is not great. I think now is a situation you could sell Northern Lion and take the extra hand size just to help us against the boss. I might. Let's go Arcana, looking for Temperance. Still no Temperance. I could go Strength now on the aces and make another Wild Ace. So, or Wild 2. Queen of Hearts is glass. Maybe we go spades into wild again. Strength again if I want to make another 2. Or we can hang him. At this point, probably we should just hang him. So, probably hearts we can make flushes. Maybe the cards that I want to remove are spades I want to remove. Maybe diamonds I want to remove. Maybe it feels wrong to remove the clubs since we have this 9 of clubs. Maybe ace of diamonds, jack of diamonds we want to remove. Maybe. All right. So going into this boss, I have the sense that I need more material. So maybe we sell Northern Lion here, take the bean. Could take a photograph. Funny. I guess now flashcard, we don't need to reroll, but I will reroll. We get some more material for the consolation. And we can go $7 is fine. Fool for Earth. We can hold on to the Fool. I don't want to spend $8 on a reroll. Let's go next. Alright. I don't just need a flush. I need a flush involving a face card. So diamonds we removed. Diamonds flush not going to happen. Hearts flush could happen. Could be we play multiple flushes with the clubs. I think is not likely to happen. Fool here, I could get a planet card and then some random tarot card. I think we should save the Fool rather than do the purple seal here. So let's try to get a hearts or spades flush. Okay, looks like hearts. And I have some twos. I'm not going to risk putting the 2 in front. I think we just put the glass card in front and send it. Definitely way more than we needed. All right, at this point, I do think, kind of interestingly, I think there's some consideration for knowing that the photograph is perishable. What if we just skip every round? Skip through all the bosses? Maybe. Or skip to all the bosses, I mean. Photograph, of course, is very powerful. I guess if we get the glass card, we can beat whatever final boss is. If we don't get the glass card, then maybe we don't have the same power. Let's look inside a standard pack before opening the Arcana pack. I could take more face cards just to have more face cards. I think that's a little bit too desperate. I'm not going to do that. Fool could be we get another Jupiter card. Could be we use the Sun. I've been putting off. I've been avoiding the Sun for a long time. Maybe it's time. So Fool for Jupiter, I think, is correct. Though also Fool for Sun, I think, is sensible. I think if you use the Sun on some face cards, that's also very powerful. So maybe that's it. Maybe the thing is diamonds and spades we can turn into hearts, no problem. 3 or 5, doesn't matter, turn into hearts. and then use the Fool for Sun. And discounted rerolls. Could reroll once here. Could spin the wheel, going down on interest. Nah. Go next. I don't have a clean answer to this boss yet. I want to turn my 2s into hearts. I want to turn my face cards into hearts. So here's diamonds and spades into hearts. That's good. Also, king into hearts. That's fine. I only need one face card here. I do still want to try to get the 2s. This 2 we can play now or we can wait. I think I'll just play it now. So 2 now. Here's another 2. Noting here, because we have Wii Joker, because we have Constellation and Flash card, actually my high card is not terrible. So we probably don't need the photograph. Or maybe what we can do is, I don't know, maybe set up a 4 of a kind? No, that's not going to happen. Maybe, I don't know. It depends on what planet cards we get for the Constellation. Could be Earth. So we have that telescope. So we already know what these Celestial Packs are going to do. Lovers is interesting. I can use on a face card or a 2. Let's open the Celestial Packs. Let's get those Jupiter cards. Mega Celestial Pack or save money for interest. It's a I don't have any way of making money, which makes me kind of sad. So maybe we don't take the Mega Pack. Let's just go next. All right, I have the purple seal. I want to try to get hearts. I could use the sun here. I wanted to say, or the lovers, I wanted to save it for base cards. I wanted to save it for 2s. Is it better to save it? What we can do is we can play 9 as a high card. Then I can use it either 2 or king. I think it's more important we do the face cards. I can play the 2. I can discard purple first. Get a fool for lovers again. I think there are better uses of a fool. Probably. Are we going to get those better uses of a fool? Maybe not. So I can go here, play the 2. And then play the flush. I haven't really tested how much my flush will do without. Oh, I was supposed to make the queen into a wild card. Oh well. Alright. This boss wants my lunch money. How do I feel about that? Buffoon pack. Parking, hallucination, we don't have room for unless you want to give up the photograph. Chariot is okay. We might be able to get away with not playing a flush. It's technically possible. It would be very difficult. I think I'm just going to play the flush. I think I'm just going to give him the money. Don't need the 4 fainers. No certificate. Alright, could be a blue seal 5. Could be gold seal with the Chad. Maybe blue seal is better. It's already hearts. We have the constellation. Go next. I can start with a pair. I could play the 2s as high card. Pair is fine. I have a flush. I probably don't play the glass card. I could play the pair of 2s this way. Okay, and then do we save the chariot? Probably. Play the twos. The flush wins, even without the photograph. Let's just put the 2 in front. Yes. Alright. So now that we're broke, we could take a spectral pack. Could be sigil here, I think doesn't make sense. Incantation also. Maybe not. Bummer. Go next. Alright. Let's go looking for hearts again. One more time. I could play... The flush is already 200,000, so I guess I just play the flush, holding the chariot for the blue seal. If I'm forced to use the chariot under some other circumstances, I will. Alright, photograph is done. This is a situation probably you sell the photograph so that another photograph could show up. We get slightly punished here because temperance gives us 15 bucks. Let's go temperance, sure, and then arcana looking for a fool or a hermit. Temperance here. I could make a steel card and copy it. I think I just want the money so that I can also buy another celestial pack for the constellation or save money for interest. I'll save my money. Go next. I have clubs. We basically only want hearts. There's some consideration for playing high card and saving a discard for the purple seal. I think that's a little bit too risky because if the flush, there it is. If the flush doesn't win, then we're gonna need a second hand. I could play the 2 here. I think this flush doesn't win is what I'm expecting without the photograph. Great. Now we have a full house we can play, which we only need 60k, so the full house is probably pretty good. And chip it. We can get 20k with high card, so as long as this is half as good, then we're fine. Could be blue seal here on the 5, high card for 20k, or that's the best we could do. Bummer. Alright. Boss says hearts are debuffed. Well, bummer. I did avoid making hearts for exactly this purpose. Exactly this reason. Let's go Celestial first. Take Jupiter. And then now Arcana. Could take money, could take judgment here. We got room for something. I think I just take the money. Against the boss, the plan is play 2 flushes, 100,000 points each. Even with the debuff, we can do a little re-rolling. Smiley face is not gonna work. We can go judgment instead. Interessante. Photograph, I guess. So against this boss, the photograph's not gonna work, probably. But I mean, photograph is the correct thing to do long term. Let's go next. My wild cards are debuffed. That's bad news. So go hearts flush. This hearts flush is weak. And then probably still go for hearts as another flush. Or do we want to go for clubs? There's only 8 clubs. Ooh. Probably we still go for hearts. All right, we have a winning flush. We know this is 100,000. We can play the 2 first. All right, play the flush. And then that's it. Fool for judgment. We could go celestial, use the fool for Jupiter. Boss says force the card to be selected. Okay, so take Jupiter here. Fool for Jupiter. Probably should have did Venus first and then Jupiter second. Could take Planet Merchant for the constellation. I think this just means this boss is already toast. We just skip to the boss now if you want with the photograph. We don't have to skip. It's fine. There's purple. We can discard the queen. Get an Emperor. Emperor gives me 1 card on the Nebula deck. This is the first time that's mattered on the Nebula deck. First time the consumable slot has mattered. Oh well. Alright, I can play 2 flushes. I can play high card 2 and then a flush if we want to get the photograph value. And my high card already 50,000. Alright. Could be standard pack. I think at this point maybe the standard packs don't matter unless we get parts, faces. We can make a glass king. And go one more. Alright. Go next. So now we have the face cards. We want to try to get 2s. If we don't get 2s, we can just send it like that. Okay. Obelisk. Funny. Okay. Okay. 2 standard packs. Judgment. Planet Merchant is just worse than re-rolling a few times. Don't have room for Inweasable. Don't have time. Emperor gives me 1 tarot card. Is a world we don't need. There's a Chariot. Chariot doesn't work against this boss because whatever card you're holding on to, you're forced to play it. You can't have a held in hand. Bummer. Paradolia? We don't have room for. That's it. Alright. Go next. 5. Okay. So 1, 2, 3. Play all these, I guess. Fine. All right. Yeah, a couple of notes here. Flashcard is rough in the early game. Flashcard can be very powerful long term, but in the early game it's rough because you don't necessarily have enough money to re-roll in the first 4 antes. Once you get to ante 5 or 6, then it starts to pick up speed, and then once you're re-rolling 4 or 5 times per shop in ante 7 and 8, then okay, it's fine. Wii Joker, of course, very powerful. Definitely carried us a lot here. With all of the chips that we're getting from the Wii Joker, with all the molt we were getting from Flashcard, even though Flashcard maybe did not get as big as what a red card would have in this situation, it was still fine. And this combination, okay, generic plus molt, generic plus chips, we're able to get, you know, maybe 50,000 for just the high card. Of course, some of that coming from ×2 from the constellation. Not the best showing of the constellation here. Part of that is a lot of runs we end up with blue seals, and blue seals then give you planet cards for the constellation. If you're not getting your planet cards from the blue seals, then you're not getting that much planet cards, period, because there's not that many celestial packs, you know, maybe there's only one celestial pack every 2 shops, right? So in 24 rounds, maybe that's only 12 celestial packs total, right? You get additional planet cards from re-rolling, but maybe if you don't have a whole lot of money, you're not doing that much re-rolling. So all of this is to say, in kind of an average run, average gold stake run, here the constellation, only 2.4, which is only 14 planet cards, which is not that much. I think if we had taken, there was an opportunity to take a vampire. I think if we had taken vampire, I think we could have gotten potentially bigger with the vampire rather than the constellation. Hologram is the best. Hologram because it's relatively consistent, I guess. Also, hologram has some cool synergies that maybe constellation doesn't have. Don't forget about the cost of the constellation. Not only do you have to have the money to re-roll in order to find the planet cards, you have to have the money to buy the planet cards. Obviously, photograph and the Chad here is a powerful combination, but sort of relies on your ability to get, again, you know, get the base levels here. If you have blue seals giving you a ton of extra levels, then of course the photograph and Chad combination is going to be even more powerful under those circumstances. But if you don't have access to that, if you don't have access to such crazy high levels, then this combination is not going to be as good, not going to be as safe as potentially just going for some kind of scaling plus molt instead of the repeatable X molt. I think that means, okay, photograph is not something that I always take early on. Chad is worth it though, because the Chad you can not just retrigger the photograph when it shows up, but you can also retrigger glass cards, bonus cards, lucky cards, those sorts of things. Yeah, going back to this idea of, okay, these are powerful jokers. The important part of this particular run, this particular seed, is how did we get to this point? How did we survive the early rounds? On the yellow deck, you start with 10 bucks, and then already in the first round, you get $2 extra of interest. You go into the first shop with, you know, maybe 16, 17 bucks, or 18, I think. 18 bucks in the first shop. On every other deck, you don't have that luxury, and so you have to be a little bit more discerning. You have to be a little bit pickier about how you navigate the first couple shops. On the Nebula deck, one thing that you can keep in mind is, because we have the telescope, what hands am I playing in the first couple rounds, so that when that first early on celestial pack shows up, I can use those celestial packs for survival. And not have to rely on jokers. If I get bad jokers, or if I get value generating jokers, I can still survive off of those celestial packs if I am playing around the telescope early on. What that means is, for me, usually I'm trying to play straights early on. This time we ended up finding a lot of natural Jupiter cards, and so we leaned into flushes instead, which is something that I normally hate doing. The voucher here, going back in time, can be dangerous if you're playing pairs. If you're trying to spam hands, losing a hand can be dangerous. Losing a hand also potentially means losing $1 of interest, potentially means losing scaling on your bus or your square joker. But because we were playing flushes, because we had a powerful one-shot hand, then it makes sense to go back in time. Then it makes sense to get a couple more rounds of generating value, get a couple more rounds where you get to see more shops, and then start to develop from there. And then in the end game, because we come in stronger, then we're able to win with fewer hands. That's fine. I think the biggest mistake we made in this run was sticking with the egg. We never got that temperance value. Obviously, it's a big... there's risk associated with holding on to the egg that long. Once you hit that temperance, then you're hugely rewarded. If you don't hit that temperance, then... that's it. I mean, you can still just sell the egg and you still get like $3 worth of sell value every round, and that's fine. What we should have done is we should have stuck with Supernova. If we stuck with Supernova, we would have plus 27 molt. That's actually not that great. But it would have filled a gap for us. It would have helped us a little bit with survival until we hit something like photograph, or we could have swapped out the egg for anything else. There were a lot of different opportunities, like maybe there was a certificate. Could have got some extra seals. Gold seal for the Chad, blue seal for the constellation. Could have even gotten some purple seals. Anyway, I just like hanging out with the egg. That's a risk I'm willing to take. Take care, everyone.